The club back going up on a Tuesday. And today we're going to talk about the Eliminator contest on Underdog. Obviously, it's been a lot of best ball mania around here, but Underdog has a massive Eliminator contest in the lobby. Super cool structure where the advancement kicks in every single week and only a few teams will survive until the week 17 final. So we're going to talk a little strategy for that and then hop in an Eliminator draft. I'm Pete. This is the club. Let's do it. All right. It's been a hot minute. I believe last time we jammed was on BBM opening day a couple weeks ago. We got Andy 8052. We got Clay, the beer maven here. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, man. All good things on this end.
Yeah, I'm good. Can't complain. We have our first six-figure prize pool day on IKB today for any NFL fans. So been monitoring that and everything, but yeah, all been good.
For NFL fans or NBA fans?
Or NBA, I meant. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, we have a $10,000 to first $100,000 contest today, which
That's awesome.
seems like it'll
Things
fill.
been going.
We're like, yeah, it's been good. We have been like really ramping up for these last bit of playoffs, and now we're focused a lot on trying to get out a best ball format and some baseball stuff and things like that for the summer as NBA is kind of winding down. But most of our focus then will be just like make sure we have a lot of cool stuff for NFL season.
How many people do you have working on that with you right now? Is it just you and your main other developer?
Yeah, it's just the two of us still.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
keeping it nice and lean, which is always nice. It's the way I like to do it.
Yeah. I bet you must be putting in some pretty long work hours these days.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but
yeah,
it's fun.
I feel like that's kind of how you've operated, right? Like when we first started doing stuff and you've gone through these phases of things you were working on where you're just like either working around the clock or you kind of like are then chilling, not saying you're not doing things, but like when you're in like deep focus mode, it's kind of like all in or not for you.
Yeah, I think that's just how I function the best too. Like I'm pretty bad at doing like an 8-hour day and then just kind of clocking out. And so I kind of am very much in most things in life an all or nothing kind of person.
What about you, Clay? How's the beer collective stuff going? I know you guys voted on your first selection. What was that, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, we just closed out our last vote of the 4-step process yesterday. And so now beer is officially in production and we're finalizing the label. We'll have the online store go live hopefully by Thursday and have like a nice purchase window open probably towards like the end of the month. And then beer will get shipped and be in people's hands by June. Is the target, like mid-June, probably latest. So we're looking right now. So good summer beer. We're making a Calamansi lime golden ale, which is pretty awesome. So it's a lime native to the Philippines. Has kind of like a tart, sweet flavor profile, a little bit more lemon mixed in with the lime component as well. And it's something that the lead brewer for Bronx has never used before in a beer and thought it would pair really well with the golden ale, which was voted on as a style. So we're stoked. Beers we called Limelight. We had some really good names. I personally was really in favor of this one called Eastern Lime Zone, which I thought was just a fantastic name. Lost by 1 vote, but we hold true to the numbers here. And so Limelight's the name of the beer, and yeah, it's exciting, man. So it's been a lot of fun, learned a shit ton. Got a lot of breweries that are interested in doing stuff with us, and now it's just about locking down officially number 2, so we can roll that out hopefully by like June, July, and keep the train moving.
Starting to feel like summer. We have Underdog Cardio Club that got announced yesterday. Now we got these fresh summer beers. We got the contests in the lobby. Summer is officially here. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about Eliminator, as ACR in the chat says here. It's so fun. Glad to see some content for it. Last year I was so heads down on trying to get all of my stream drafts done for Best Ball Mania that I couldn't devote any time to Eliminator. And this year I definitely plan to change that and excited to talk about it a little bit with you guys today. For people who aren't, completely familiar with this format, it is almost exactly like it sounds in that each week there are eliminations. So anyone who has done, Best Ball Mania is well aware of, hey, after week 14, 10 of the 12 teams are eliminated. And then in the next pod, 15 of the, 16 teams or whatever is eliminated. With the Eliminator, each week, the eliminator comes for a few teams. So I pulled up the advanced structure here. Week 1, 10 of 12 advanced, then 8 of 10, 8 of 10, 7 of 10. We keep going down each week, losing 2 to 3 teams until we get to a week 17 final with 115 teams. And I know one thing that's really interesting this year that's different is how much bigger the Eliminator final is. And with 115 teams, you start to wonder how you balance this idea of having like a robust team that can withstand the bye weeks, that can withstand injuries, but also be optimized to win in week 17. So I think this is a really fun riddle to try to crack this year. But have either of you got to do any Eliminator drafts or think about this contest at all?
I haven't too much. I don't think I've actually done an eliminator yet, but I have been thinking about it a bit, especially when we were talking about doing it today. I think it's interesting because last year, if I remember correctly, there was way more variance week by week as far as how many teams got through. Like,
Yeah.
there were a couple weeks that were like really brutal, I think, as far as
Mhm.
rates. So I think it's interesting that that flattened out a lot. Um, I do think that changes the strategy pretty meaningfully as far as, like, if you just really wanna make sure you have teams advancing and having sweats and, like, getting there, you probably don't wanna be thinking quite as much about floor outcomes as you did last year, um, and you can be a little bit more swing for the fences and, like you were saying, focus a little bit more on week 16, 17, like, the last couple weeks that really matter. Um, but this is also a format where knowing the schedule matters so much. Uh
Yeah.
like, not having it, I think these early drafts are really interesting where you could just end up drafting a team where you're kinda dead right out of the gate because both your quarterbacks have a bye the same week or something.
Yeah, there was the irony of it too, because I was thinking about that of like, man, should we wait until after the schedule to do our first eliminator draft? And I'm like, you know what? Let's just pull off the band-aid. Let's get our feet wet. Let's wrap our head around the contest. But yes, I do think ideally you are drafting because avoiding zeros is so much more paramount. When I was kind of looking through things, the other thing that jumped out to me was the elite onesies not being as important. I
Mhm.
really like prioritizing those in BBM, specifically the elite tight ends this year, just because what it means for them separating from your pod. It's like the opposite dynamic, right? In that in the BBM pods, you're needing to finish at the top of a pod. And in these, you're trying not to finish at the bottom of your pod. And so that ability for those onesies to separate, I think is not as powerful. And so I think that's probably going to push me to a lot more 3 quarterback, 3 tight end builds in this format. But then because of this week 17 structure, you can flip it back on its head and then say, but if everybody shows up to the finals with Luke Musgrave, Pat Freiermuth, and Noah Fant, and you got George Kittle dropping a 30 burger, that could be a pretty nice thing to have in the week 17 finals.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, speed
yeah,
of not
totally.
taking speed of not taking zeros. I think I'm kind of out on zero RB in this format in some respects, just because, I mean, obviously you have this safety net of you only have like 10, 8, 8, 8, 7 through like the first 4 weeks to advance. But a lot of the zero RB thesis in some respects is that you're going to have some players come to form later in the year. And I just don't want to get stuck at the bottom of a pool. So I think I'm going to really prioritize like anchor QB, anchor running back. And then I'm less interested in like elite tight end per se, like trying to force that. And I still think like, some of the data around like the 3 quarterback stuff is interesting in particular to this contest, but I'm still kind of keen on an elite QB. I think that might still be like where my headspace is at, just because I want to like that point differential over the course of the season just seems to be more and more extreme than it does even from like an elite tight end perspective, where you can make it up with like 3 late tight ends versus like last year I did a lot of late quarterbacks, and it's like all those late quarterbacks are not really cresting 20 points max a game versus like 35 bombs or 40 bombs going up by some of the elite quarterbacks. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
I guess though,
interesting wrinkles.
I think I would maybe push back on zero RB, not because I don't think you're like generally right, but in that you do want to be avoiding like the zeros at the end of the draft. So maybe like true extreme zero RB. But if you were to just load up on running backs and say round 6 through 13, where these guys are going to be on the field, like you are taking David Montgomery and Najee, and like
Sure,
loading
sure.
up. I think you can do it, but I do agree with you. And I think that's why the late rounds are so interesting in this format, right? Because you can't take on that zero risk. Like we shouldn't in Best Ball Mania, but even more so here, what is the production that's most reliable in the late rounds? It kind of is quarterback. It's like Derek Carr is cheap as hell. We know he's going to play.
And unless he gets hurt,
games.
he's going to be the starter.
Right. Where some of those running backs, you don't know that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think my challenge to that. Go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
I think the other thing with that too is like even like any rookie in general, not even just running backs, but like rookie wide receivers, rookie quarterbacks, there's a chance they don't start week 1 or they really, really struggle the first couple weeks of the season as they're like kind of getting their feet wet. And so I think that that's the other like interesting wrinkle too, is like I probably will be discrediting rookies a little bit more just because of how unknown their first couple weeks are.
I agree with that. I still get challenged with like the idea of like, Derek Carr being QB1 when you get to like week 10 and like 3 of 5 advance. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're just going to be, hitting it with volume if you have enough quarterback ammo, but I don't have any. I like what you said regarding the running backs, because I think if they're starting caliber running backs with good touch opportunity and you can draft in those middle rounds and like in some respects, RB dead zone and other draft, formats, like that still seems very viable here because you're going after those, guaranteed points.
Well, and again, like I said, the week 17 finals make a really interesting wrinkle to this. And, I want to give a shout out to Justin Herzig. I know he wrote a good article up on Establish the Run about Eliminator specific content, and ETR has Eliminator specific ranks too, which is nice. But I do think it's kind of fun because the contest in general would push everyone to the more kind of balanced builds, all of that stuff. But now you can start to do the week 17 is all that matters thing with the Eliminator prize pool and kind of push you back to the line of thought. Can I sneak through this juggernaut team that has a lot of rookies that break out, that have some elite onesies who can separate? I think obviously it's a balancing act. And maybe if we're more willing to tilt that way in Best Ball Mania, we should be willing to tilt more on the safer side in Eliminator. But I think you do still want to sprinkle those guys in.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I am hopping us in a Eliminator draft right now. It looks like we got a few more spots left. If you guys want to draft with us, this is my first Eliminator draft of the year. And I think the other fun thing about this is, and I'm curious, someone in the chat, let me know, are these the same ADPs from the other traditional contests? Are these its own ADPs? Does anyone know that?
Great question. I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Like on first glance, it looks like the same. You still see Marvin Harrison at 13.4. I don't see any key differences yet, which to me is kind of the interesting thing of what could you exploit from an ADP standpoint, where the volume of this data is compiled from a format that is not the same as this, where there should be certain players getting pushed in either direction.
Yeah, it seems like it's the same looking at it.
And just to clarify what I'm saying, you can upload your own rankings. The ranking sets are different. Like I uploaded the ETR ranks, but I'm just saying the initial ADP looks the same to me.
Yeah.
All right. Andy's got the 1-2. I got the 1-5. Did you get in here, Clay?
Yeah, I'm all the way over. For a second, I got scared because I didn't see the message in time. And then I was like, what the hell am I on the screen? 111.
Here we go.
I'm hoping that this guy's not a CMC truther.
I do see a decent amount of CD Lamb go 101, but that's more
as well
in Best Ball Manias. So we'll get to see if Clay puts his money where his mouth is and takes Josh Allen at the 1-2 turn.
Well, I mean, I wasn't talking that out of pocket. Lamar? Maybe. No, again.
Yeah, so Andy goes CD Lamb.
GTO Hurricane. Yes, I am in a closet. Asking.
It's a great bit. That's a weekly question.
You will never not get questions about where you're recording. Yeah. Even though you've been recording from that same location for like 8 months now. I feel like Amon-Ra is a nice pick in this form. This is a funny one where the ETR ranks, and this is true for regular Best Ball Mania. They have Amon-Ra ahead of Jefferson. I feel like Amon-Ra is a slightly more condom pick than Jefferson, which seems great for the Eliminator.
Yeah, I'm with you
It's
there.
just quarterback related, right? That's
I
all it
struggle
is.
to not want to take Jefferson there. Like I'm still taking Jefferson over Amon-Ra. Probably. I haven't thought about it for the Eliminator, but in general, I am. But I get why
I've been
people would
condoming
have
it.
him above
I've been taking
Jefferson.
Sun God. I don't know, man. I'm not so into JJ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, I don't think
it's
you're
a
going to
quarterback thing.
see too many key differences. Like, where do you guys think the first spot in the draft where the Eliminator difference would maybe take hold on a player? Like, if you look at the ETR ranks, it is the quarterbacks. They are below ADP on basically all of the elite quarterbacks.
Where do they have Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Let's see. They still have him pretty high, like right in line with his ADP.
Yeah, I mean, tight end for me is one that I think is reasonable to push down because unless you get the kind of Travis Kelce season from him or somebody like a McBride where he just really separates points wise, like I feel like you can make up tight end points a lot easier than other positions, especially when you just need to stay out of the bottom 2 to 5 depending on the round.
What's Laporta's rank?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, granted, they're low on Laporta, I think, anyways, but
yeah, their rank is 41, his ADP 28.
That's one that I think that makes sense to me. But he's also, I feel like all these sites are ranking Laporta way behind ADP, anyways.
Yeah.
Like, let's see what his leg up have him at in the regular. They have him at 30.
Yeah. And the thing that's always interesting about that too is, you know, their ranks do incorporate and bake in some ADP versus like a true rank. I do agree with like Chief Smoke here. You know, one of the huge things getting pushed up in Best Ball Mania are these rookie wide receivers. We know how those picks are being made because of how important the back end production is down the stretch. So I think you have to move some of those guys down. And even maybe even more so too, like take a guy like Ricky Pearsall, who I don't mind taking in Best Ball Mania, almost as like a contingent upside play, but taking like a contingent guy in this format that could just be a stone zero for 14 weeks doesn't feel great.
Yeah, the wide receiver 4 on a team is not super exciting in this.
Yeah, I mean, like rookie tight ends especially scare me just because that's been a trend where rarely do they catch on, or even if they catch on, like McBride. I mean, he was great, but like, you know, it's all cost relevant.
I think double tapping running back in this is also pretty terrifying. Maybe even more so than traditional BBM.
Yeah.
Really, do you think like extreme builds are almost more in play here? Like if you went like true like hyper fragile running back, like 2 running backs, maybe draft like a 3rd or 4th later.
I'm gonna try to
let's
draft
say
like a
let's say you
boomer.
take a 2 running back in the 1st and 2nd round, just really went high T mode. What if you just didn't draft another running back until maybe 17, 18? Too extreme?
Yeah. No, you
Plays
just mean
here
like
better,
just the traditional hyper fragile kind of strategy, right? Where you're
like 4
taking,
RB.
but more extreme versions of those hyper builds.
Speaking of extreme, Josh Allen at 21 here. Yeah. I think hyper fragile can work in this format. You know, you're making the same bet. Like these guys stay healthy. They're all top 6, 7 backs, ideally. And then you're just going to get a shit ton of quantity at the other positions. It does get a little tricky if you like late round quarterback, late round tight end to do 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, and a grip of wide receivers. You do start to run out of extra spots.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's intriguing. I guess it's just like, do you put more of a premium on filling out your starting lineup with premium position players versus like, waiting to the later rounds to give you more of a robust chamber of running backs to take points from or other position?
Yeah. I kind of my thought is law is that you can do those strategies, but it's really some of those player archetypes, the rookies, and it's that mentality of avoiding dead roster spots, avoiding zeros has to be like ratcheted up way more, where you're funneling through that. Like Devon Achane, some of these guys are like really interesting, right? Where you think about what gets you excited about Devon Achane, it's that he could drop 30 in any week. Yeah.
Whereas in this, you like kind of would almost prefer someone who drops 20 every week than the guy who drops 30 any week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just drafting off because you also, I think
Pete's drafting the 2022 Dream Team.
That's exactly. I think that's the slogan for the Eliminator. Draft the teams that were good last year.
Yeah.
But another situation where, I sometimes will push back when people are like, man, Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, they're all going too early. How are they all going to pay off? And it's like, that's not the way scoring works in best ball. And if you get the 30 burger from one of those guys in the playoff weeks, like they can absolutely pay that off with a few of those. The Eliminator is like the opposite, right? Like you get that 30 points. Congratulations. Devon Achane's 50 points against the Broncos in week 4 last year, that moves you on to week 5, and then those points don't matter anymore. It's not helping you advance out of the regular season. So those mega ceiling, but boom bust guys, I think have to get devalued.
Yeah, totally. I almost wonder if there's like an even bigger benefit to stacking in something like this, where you're spreading out your risk more, where there's some amount of risk. Like, for example, I have Nico and Stephon Diggs right now. And like my goal is to also get Tank Dell and CJ Stroud, whether or not that happens, who knows? But like, if I'm just betting the Texans will be a good offense, one of those wide receivers should be one of my scorers every week. Like, it'd be pretty crazy if that wasn't the case. And I wonder if that's almost even more helpful in this format where you really need a few floor people every week to advance versus like needing a couple really big hits where the cumulative score matters so much more. And so it's like, I'm happy to get a 20 from Nico Collins and a 0 from Tank Dell because I don't need that cumulative score. It resets next week anyways.
That's an interesting thought experiment from the portfolio of like any individual one of those picks in this format doesn't work as well as it does in BBM. But if you have all of them in this format, does it then remitigate that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking is like, since you lose any cumulative thinking, like having that floor and just being like, I'm betting that every week one of the 3 Houston wide receivers will be a really, really good player to have on your team.
Goes for 30.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. Like,
this is the other major consideration, as Grant says, is like how much can you get away with on the bye week?
That's a really good point.
And
we're going to find out, hopefully.
And then in that case, I think I would be more inclined to do an onslaught like that cheaper, right? Like if you want to take the 4 Patriots wide receivers at the back end of your draft because you think they're going to be the breakout offense, then at least when their bye week comes up, you still have all of your top 100 picks, contributing to your lineup that week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point that I wasn't thinking about.
My jammy, I addressed this at the top of the show. It is, this is probably the most suboptimal time to draft an Eliminator draft because there's no ADP values and right before the schedule comes out. So you're at risk of some of those 0 bye week landmines. But so yes, if you want to save your bullets for after tomorrow night around 10 p.m. Eastern, you have my stamp of EV approval.
I want to do a check-in a few rounds from now on how the NBA playoff basketball season is treating you guys.
I will say
I'm getting crushed, I think.
I'm getting crushed too, but I believe I have a team named Milton that is still alive. The last I checked. Let's see, Andy. See, Tank Dell, I take in 1 million of my Best Ball Mania draft, so I'll let Tank fall to you.
Wow, amazing. Odds are he won't even make it.
Yeah, let's see. Who else do I want here? Man, this is like not a great territory for Eliminator picks. I feel like Christian Kirk is the most Eliminator ass player I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he is.
I love this. Is how you kind of like get it out of your system. You know, you're like, is that the new bit? It's like, I prefer Christian Kirk in the Eliminator than in Best Ball Mania.
Just way better value there. That's where I'm acquiring my equity in Christian Kirk. The Eliminator.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
Eliminator pick.
Yeah.
Hang on, Andy.
I believe this guy's just auto drafting. So.
Oh, you did get your full on
triple.
I'm gonna get the Houston
here.
Mega Stack, which means I can't wait to get eliminated whatever week Houston has a.
Houston's got a week 4 bye.
Yeah, I'm ruined. If this was really, best ball, really if this was a BBM 5 draft, I'd be ecstatic right now. I feel like this is hard to pull off.
Yeah,
I mean it's pretty dope. I like it. Oh yeah, so this guy went double elite QB at the corner. Push to play in Spotify.
Yeah, he's got some interesting stuff going on in his team.
I feel like this year with like the the top prize of BBM, not even sniffing a full Karain, makes it a little easier to like focus on some other contests because you're not just like chasing the upside of upping the last year's winning prize pool number.
Yeah. I just grabbed Rashad White, another guy I have not been clicking in BBMs that much, who just feels like an Eliminator ass pick if I've ever seen one. I'm just getting all these Eliminator goodies.
Oh yeah, he's going to score so many 10-point weeks. It's going to be huge for you.
I love it. Just give me those 11.2 half point.
A touchdown,
PPR.
2 receptions, and 35 yards.
You know who feels like a disgusting pick?
Who?
Actually, I'll wait till they get picked because they're close to the top of the board. There's a couple names. A couple of these receivers right here but I want people to take them, so I'm not going to shit on them too much. The old fragiles. I'll put it that way.
So Pete,
really disgusting an eliminator.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Amari and Keenan are both tougher.
Yeah,
tougher clicks for me.
Disgusting.
They're tough clicks for me in BBM as well.
In BBM for sure. They're. I'm happy that I have 0 of. I don't see either one of those guys burying me.
How far in are you, Pete, in BBM drafts?
I think 21 or 22.
Oh wow, I'm like trying really hard to pace myself because last year I like came out the gate pretty hot.
Yeah.
And so I've only done a couple. I've only done like 3 or 4, I think. I told myself I'd actually wait until the schedule comes out.
The funny thing is I have not done a single Best Ball Mania draft that hasn't either been cardio or for content. But it just like when I do 3 or 4 on Monday stream and then we do one on ship chasing on my account, I've been doing a couple like challenge videos on the Deposit Kingdom channel and it just like I rip through them pretty quickly. I recorded a new challenge video where I put like 9 or 10 different structural kind of things. None of them like super gimmickly, like only draft from teams that have bird mascots, but stuff like go elite QB, blah, blah, blah. And I had one, I'll tease it here. So I spin the wheel twice. I got robust RB, had to get 3 early running backs. And then I had to onslaught one team, had 5 players from a team. And that's the draft that's going to come out hopefully tomorrow on that channel. It was a tough exercise, I will say, but it was fun to do.
I missed the first part. You said this is like a pre-recorded draft you did, or on the is it a Swolecast bit?
No, this is like for the Deposit Kingdom. I've been doing kind of like
Oh, fire! Yeah,
a draft challenge and then cutting it up so it's not as long as a typical stream draft.
Yeah, I liked
nice.
the pre-planned draft one. That was
Yeah.
a good episode.
I'll have to peep that.
It's fun too. Like one of the benefits I enjoyed last year of drafting with a bunch of people is I do like different builds, take different players than I normally would. And so even doing this draft, it's like, yeah, I don't normally start my drafts with 3 running backs, but I think I can make a really good 3 running back. It ended up being a 4 running back team, but I'm like, I think I can do this in a good way. And I probably would never naturally do it without a prompt or someone else being like, hey, let's try this.
It's a great thought exercise. Like, you see how funky you get.
Yeah. So let's see, Clay. You
I've abandoned everything I said at the top of the show. Yeah, I mean, like I just well, look, I mean, if you've learned anything from drafting, it's like you got to take what the board gives you and then choose your own adventure a little bit. So we fucking went tight in the 3rd round.
I like both of you. So Clay went Pacheco, Worthy, Marquise, and Andy went Diggs, Tank, Stroud, and Collins. We were like, the one thing you got to do, avoid those bye weeks. The schedule's not out. You guys were like, hold my fucking beer. I don't even need the schedule. I'll step on these landmines right now.
Yeah, we're zagging with Zig. No one's doing this shit post schedule. Like no one. They're gonna see all those bye weeks just laid up next to them. No one's triple stacking. I don't even have Mahomes, so I'm just naked KCing three-way right now.
Chris Godwin is such an eliminator ass pick if I've ever seen one. Oh man.
Yeah, bro. Kirk and Godwin.
And Rashad.
20-point kings.
I'm about to draft Kyle Pitts in the Eliminator.
Rashad got a little bit of
feels like a huge mistake.
0.
Yeah, so Keon Coleman, this is one of the things that is kind of interesting about this contest is, and we've talked about this in so many different pieces of content when we talk about scrolling the F down, how anchored people are to ADP. And I think that's probably going to be one of the bigger edges in this contest, is just how anchored we are to the Best Ball Mania ADP. And not realizing like, man, I get kind of sticker shock on Keon Coleman in Best Ball Mania, much less, in this format. Not to mention on the same day they just signed MVS.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough when Mac Hollins is just, beating his on-field percentage by 80%.
Yeah. Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, those seem like some nice eliminator picks. Andy,
eliminator ass picks.
Yeah, I figured I'd take a running back at some point. He's my first one off the board.
There you go. God, I cannot wait to take one of Najee Harris or Ramondre, some just eliminator ass picks.
Would you think about going Brian Thomas or Evan Ingram if he had dropped to you and going for a bit of a Jag stack?
I think I would have considered Ingram, specifically because it kind of filled my tight end need. I want to leave some like positional flexibility. We'll do Ramondre because he's slightly ahead. Like if I go another wide receiver here, I'm getting to the point where I can probably only add one more at another point in the draft. So that's kind of the only other thing I'm like, I want to keep at least 2 wide receiver selections in my back pocket for later.
Yeah, because I feel like, outside of quarterback and I guess just more so than running back, I feel better about some of those later round wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree with Crutches too. Like Ingram, a guy who is just going to get his 4 catches a game. You feel pretty good about that. Whereas so many tight ends can be just stone zeros.
Eliminator ass pick.
Eliminator ass pick. Yeah, so this is my team here through 7. I did just get my second running back. Still no quarterbacks or tight ends. I got Rashad White and Ramondre Stevenson, 5 wide receivers, Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin. Andy has the onslaught with Houston, along with Aaron Jones, CeeDee Lamb, and Kyle Pitts. And Clay has got a 1-4-1 build, the Pacheco, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, and Sam Laporta. Zeke.
Not
Now
many
that's
eliminator
a eliminator ass pick right
That
there.
is. That is.
Zeke should be like a 3rd round pick in this format. Exactly. Yeah. What? Let's guess how high ahead of ADP does the ETR ranks have Zeke Elliott? Wow, not ahead of ADP.
Wow.
They're right in line.
Locked in, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, this is a pretty gross area of the board.
Just keep taking Chiefs, Clay. See what
Yeah,
happens.
not the next one on the board. It's not an eliminator
a
ass
good
pick.
eliminator pick. Devin Singletary, I feel like.
That's an eliminator
eliminator
ass pick for sure. Start calling him Devin the Eliminator Singletary.
Or like later on, Jacoby Myers feels very eliminatory.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, he put up some serious fantasy points last year. I don't want to knock Jacoby too much.
Honestly, you know what? You know what'd be eliminator if you could get if you get a big discount on Brock and you do Brock and Jacoby together. Be like, all right, maybe Brock starts a little slow, Jacoby gets that early season, and then you get the late season Brock.
I like that.
Yeah, there are like some of the running backs. I've seen a little conversation about Deontay Foreman. I think he's another one, in this format, uncertainty with Nick Chubb. I think you can kind of flip. We think of some of these injured guys that we still kind of like potentially as late season, and then flipping who's the beneficiary of why they're gone. So like Deontay Foreman for Nick Chubb, Jordan Addison for TJ Hawkinson, Derrick Henry for Keaton Mitchell. Like those guys, they can still produce when those guys return, but also will probably get a volume boost at the top.
Yeah, I wonder if hand cucking in this is better or worse, because you could almost make the case that it's like, you have Foreman for the first 5 weeks of the season and then Chubb for the rest. And like between the two of them, you get a scorer every single week versus in traditional best ball, since it's more cumulative, you can just kind of like bet on other guys. And
I think the only reason it's worse is just the bye week issue being more prevalent in this contest versus like.
Noah, have you never heard the phrase hand cucking before?
I was gonna say, Noah. I mean, this is part of the best ball lexicon it has been for a couple of years here. I took Zach Moss, which, guys, I hate to say it, but that's an eliminator ass pick right there.
Yeah,
Chase Brown's the eliminator ass pick.
Man, I want to take Jonathan Brooks here, but I'm gonna go with the eliminator ass pick and take James Conner.
It's kind of like when football pundits call every single wide receiver gritty. It's just like you call every dusty veteran an eliminator ass pick. Just the ultimate euphemism.
Adam Thielen, eliminator ass pick.
The rugby kid. I don't know if that's an eliminator ass pick. I mean, God, I can't wait to take one of Tyler Lockett or Joshua Palmer. Actually, I probably should start to get another position here. Or Devin Singletary. There's so many eliminator ass picks available.
Oh, man.
I think I'm going to do Trevor Lawrence. Get my first quarterback stacked up with Christian Kirk here. Seems prudent. Although he has a deep ADP relative. Maybe I don't need to do it. Maybe I take a tight end. Is David Njoku an eliminator ass pick, or is that too volatile?
I think he's too good. He's got too high of a ceiling.
Wow. You're right. I better just lock up Trevor Lawrence. 17 picks ahead of ADP.
Yeah, I mean, you could take Brock there for the same eliminator ass context of because you have Devonta, right?
You're right. I did. But man, Brock just feels like a non-eliminator ass pick for sure.
It just feels like a way to get eliminated pick.
Yeah. I could just feel my head on the guillotine as I was hovering over him. Yeah, Dalton Schultz. Guys, I'm so excited to take 3 late round tight ends. I was born for this. This team has Pat Freiermuth, Jawan Johnson, and Kate Otten written all over it. Gus Edwards, a pretty good eliminator ass pick, I think, if you need running back help.
Yeah.
I was laughing. I was listening to Levitan's market update pod earlier, and he called Trey Benson Cedric Benson on accident, but didn't notice and kept going. He's like, James Conner and Cedric Benson. I was like, wait, what? He's back.
Oh, dude, Mike Williams feels like not an Eliminator ass pick. What is beyond?
Now, Jamison Williams at 88, who was already a BBM ass pick ahead of ADP in this format. I don't know.
Got to get your guys.
I mean, look, I considered him because I didn't think he was going to make it back around last turn because I was trying to build a little bit of a Lions stacky, but ADP is
Caleb Williams is slipping as much as he is, considering Jaden Daniels on pick 99.
Yeah, 99.
Too much volatility with Caleb.
Well, here's the spin zone on Jaden. You first would go, oh, that's a BBM ass pick, too volatile. And then you spin zone it and say the risk is he gets injured, which will increase as the season goes along. Bank me up all those 100-yard rushing games early in the season. Eliminator ass pick.
Yeah, and he's got the running floor.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Humble legend building a super team.
Clay, you took Jared Goff, the man who just got paid. Eliminator ass pick. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm banking in I'm taking my 300 yards a game to the bank. Ran that to the podium.
What did I see? Is he now like the second or third highest paid quarterback in the league?
It's something fucking absurd. It was like 170 million guaranteed or something. I'm sure their little pull it up.
I feel like Dallas Goedert is just
blurb.
A nice eliminator ass pick. I already have Devontae. He slips past ADP. Give me those 4.5 catches a game.
I will take Brock Bowers at some point if he gets to me. Feels like there's a certain number where you take him.
Yeah.
Yo, I just went to the NFL news tab on Underdog, and like the second blurb is Chase Claypool, new competition in wide receiver room. Like, I don't think he's relevant enough to be in that conversation. Dolphins.
Is he still he's still in Miami? Okay, I didn't know if he was still there.
Wait, I thought Chase Claypool signed with the Bills.
Oh, maybe. I just went purely by what Underdog has him as.
Yeah, they still list him as the Dolphins. Oh, Bills. Yeah, Claypool have more competition. Bills signed. Yeah, they just haven't updated the team. Okay, that's interesting.
No, the Bills were coping so hard after losing Gabe Davis that they said the only way we can fill his shoes is with a triumvirate of Keon Coleman, Chase Claypool,
Canadian Gabe Davis,
and MBS. Yeah, Brock Bowers at 119, pretty BBM ass pick, but I like it at that price here. Andy.
Yeah, it felt like too low.
Eliminate the value off the board.
I was considering going for Dalton Schultz and just getting a little bit ridiculous, but that felt like too much to have the 4 pass catchers.
Yeah.
Goff signed a 4-year, $212 million extension with $170 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid line in franchise history.
I also considered potentially going Justin Herbert and Josh Palmer there for a little.
That's definitely
back-to-back, very eliminator.
God, this feels so good. I am taking Zeke Elliott 4 picks ahead of ADP, an eliminator ass pick. Let's go.
Oh man.
I like Christian's thought in the chat here. Does it make sense to fill out a solid squad of eliminator ass picks and click a bunch of BBM ass picks after a certain point? In theory, you hit on your safe picks and then still get the upside late. I do think that is you backweight your risk ideally, which is in general kind of what you're doing, but I think even more so in this.
Yeah, format. Like I think definitely to me, guys like Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. and those guys, I will probably end up taking a little bit less than the field in something like this, just because realistically, what's the difference between him and Drake London, who are at like the same ADP as far as like potential upside on their season? In London, you at least have a little bit more of an idea of what his role in the offense will be, things like that. But at the same time, those guys are so good that maybe it just doesn't matter, and I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Crutches makes a decent counter. You could also front weight the risk and take singles instead of home runs in the late rounds. This kind of goes back to the reverse engineering your draft and saying, like, what type of profiles do you like late? In general, I feel like some of the late profiles are maybe more volatile, more risky, which leads me to drafting them more in BBM. So I think I'd be more inclined to front or backload my risk in this. But if you have archetypes you like, say the Deontay Foreman types, Demario Douglas, probably another good one, a boring eliminator ass pick that you could get cheap. I think as long as you know where those pockets and players are, you can make it work in either direction.
Yeah, I just got super cucked on a great eliminator ass pick in Brandon Cooks.
Oh yeah, because you have Dak, right?
More of like Brandon Cooks this draft, you know.
Tough scene.
Yeah, I do have Dak. Naked Dak right now. We're lit. That's very eliminator. Naked quarterback and needs to excel.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten that you look like Andrew Schultz, Andy?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what he looks like, so no.
That's pretty funny.
He's just on the Tom Brady roast,
which is great.
No, I have never gotten that I look like him before. I don't think that I do.
I think it's literally just the mustache. I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, we have a very different facial structure.
It's just the mustache, which is What did you guys watch?
The guy who I look like the most, who's an actor, is from Downton Abbey. He was like the butler in that show or something.
So have we done this before? Who's the?
Probably.
I don't remember ever looking it up though. Mr. Carson?
No, not the butler. I don't remember the guys.
Someone tell us which Downton Abbey character.
Thomas Barrow, I think is.
I just need to pull up the cast on IMDb.
No,
we just do guessing games.
Tom Branson is the guys. This is like literally the only actor I've ever had random people be like, "You look like this guy." But this was also a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't really see it, but I'll pull it up here after I pick. Let's see here. What eliminator?
Thielen is calling your name.
God, that is a real eliminator. His ADP, he's like 30 picks ahead of ADP in this. That's disgusting. No, I want Pat Freiermuth. I think Freiermuth is an eliminator ass pick. So many vacated targets there without Deontay Johnson, Russell Wilson feeding him. Need that second tight end. All right, this is Tom Branson. Tell us if I don't see it, Andy. I'm not saying you're the one who said this. I'm just saying
I see it. I can see it. That photo in particular, I can see it.
Andy, at this point in my life, I was also clean shaven, and so I think that also helps. That's true.
It's like one of those things where it's like if somebody did like an AI generative of like Andy's face in like that setting of like the movie, and it's like kind of looks like him enough that you're like, wait a second, like do I know that person? And then it's like, oh wait, but it doesn't look just like him.
Using my free chat to say Andy doesn't look British at all. Great use.
That's a
eliminator ass chat
for me, actually. So I'll take that. Thank you.
It's an eliminator ass celebrity comp for you, Andy. That's what I'll say.
What do the ETR ranks say here?
Lance Armstrong
running back goes. I'm curious whether they like Jalen Wright or Marshawn Lloyd more or someone else.
Lance Armstrong.
Look at all these fun, sexy players at the top of my ADP queue that I'm not going to be allowed to take because they're not eliminator ass picks.
Jalen Wright? Nope.
I can't believe you took Goff from me, man. Stacking that up with Amon-Ra.
I'm gonna have to report it, so don't sue me. Like,
I'm not suing you, but I am pretty peeved.
Hey, eliminator ass pick.
I think I take
from your roster.
I think I take Baker Mayfield here. I have Godwin, Rashad. I think that's right. And it sets up the K Dotton later, which this team has K Dotton written all over it. Fucking eliminator ass tight end. Actually, he's not. Like he's like a 0 or had 30 points in that one game. I take it back.
I'm gonna have to seek out some eliminator ass wide receivers.
Wow, here. Clay, I was talking about Jerome Ford, and you took about 131. That's an eliminator. That's a go get your guy. I mean, holy cow, he has a high ADP. I thought that was I
Great
thought he was a
eliminator
lot
pick.
cheaper than that.
Eliminator
Sorry,
ass
I was
pick,
thinking
man.
Deonta Foreman.
Yeah.
Foreman. My bad.
Yeah, it flopped. The thesis was there, but you just had to read between the tea leaves on the.
I thought you had taken Deonta Foreman 70 picks ahead of ADP. That's what I thought had happened.
No, not that out of pocket.
What do you think about this comp, Clay? You look like Zach Bryan.
That's funny. I haven't gotten that one before, but I have a friend who look that's so much similar to. He gets it a lot, but he also has like the exact haircut and everything, and like mustache vibe. And
I kind of like this. Look at this. The feeling when you get Jerome Ford in your draft.
It's pretty good. We got to restring the guitar. I'm not taking an eliminator ass pick here because again, got mine taken, but it's all right.
I need to get another quarterback. I feel like quarterbacks are going fast here.
Yeah. Because you're probably going to see more 3 quarterback builds, right? Whereas in a BBM, you'll have like 4 or 5 teams that'll just go 2.
Yeah, I was trying to get Rodgers there. Admittedly, felt like a great eliminator ass pick with Garrett Wilson stacked up. Pete, what'd you read on the Chargers backfield? I'm kind of drinking the J.K. Dobbins juice, man. I just kind of like that he just keeps coming out and saying like, "I'm still the fucking best. Like, both my legs are broken, but I'm gonna run for 2,000 fucking yards."
I mean, cost adjusted, I do still like, I think, Vidal the most. If he gets steamed way up, it'll probably tilt to Gus. But I think, yeah, I mean, if we continue to get really good J.K. Dobbins news, but it's also like we've gotten that basically every single year as well. I think Vidal can earn a role just by performance, whereas I think Dobbins is going to need an injury to one of those two to get on the field.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, quarterbacks are flying here. God, I can't wait to set up the Adam Thielen, Bryce Young stack. Dude, you guys are going to let me get the most eliminator ass pick ever at ADP. When you want to talk about ADP value, no, we're talking about rank value. Pick 138. Come on home. I get all of my exposure to Zach Moss, Zeke Elliott, Adam Thielen, and Rachaad White in the eliminator.
Oh, man.
Oh, did Tyler just call himself my dad in the fucking chat?
Man, Zach Bryan and Emo's son.
Zach Bryan's dad looks pretty chill, though. I've seen some videos of him at his concerts, just raging. Wait, so did you guys watch the Brady roast? I
did.
Yeah, you did. And did you watch it?
I have not yet. No, I will at some point, but I haven't watched it yet.
It was definitely better than I anticipated it being. I missed out on it live, which would have been fun because I feel like it was definitely a great Twitter moment. It was good. Did you have a favorite comic?
Roast?
Yeah, roaster.
I liked I thought the just like objectively best set was well, people will push back because they like Nikki Glazer. I thought hers was good, but Tony Hinchcliffe's I thought was the best.
Yeah.
He packed like the pacing of Nikki Glazer's set was great. But man, like Hinchcliffe really packed a punch with his.
Yeah. He had some moments for sure. The all hell no was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that was a really good joke.
I thought Kevin Hart did a great job hosting too, for him kind of being, somewhat played out at this point or kind of reached his like max, public persona in some ways. Like I thought he did a great job hosting and calling back to stuff and carrying it on.
Yeah, the thing, like, I think maybe sometimes people don't realize is how for a show like that that's both live, and streamed and is that long, you
Yeah,
really need a high energy host. Like to the
yeah,
point where it feels like it's too much or it's over the top or it's overbearing. It's like you actually need that or the energy just gets sucked out of the room. And every time the next comic comes up, it's like they have to start from scratch. Kevin Hart like refused to let the energy levels drop in that room. And it
yeah,
can feel
yeah.
grating at times, but I really think you need it to pull that off.
I agree. And it wasn't like it was like pretty effortless for him too, the way he was like going about. I thought it was just like really well done. And it was funny, like the parts that were obviously like scripted, like the little moments with like the toast and the shot
Wow, the
drinks and stuff, like still played
15th
pretty well.
round Bo Nix off the board.
There you go.
All right, here's a
Quarterback
very
sneak.
eliminator ass pick for you. We back with this one. OBJ.
Oh, I mean, I can't even tell if that's Eliminator ass or not. I'm tilting that I got sniped on Bryce Young. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean everyone who I'm drafting hoping to get a little bit of a late round stack, I'm losing. So
Don't worry,
Dude,
buddy.
I
You
might just
super stack that bitch.
wow.
Take another Houston guy. Take Damian Pierce just for the vibes.
what about Gardner Minshew? Do we think he's
That's.
actually going to start the whole season?
I mean, he didn't get
Yeah,
a whole lot of.
honestly. Is Gardner Minshew going to start the whole season? I feel like that's crazy. ETR doesn't even have him ranked.
I feel like he had I don't think Aiden O'Connell's any good.
No.
If they had drafted somebody, like yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of with see the hairs there. He's a great eliminator ass pick.
I think I'll wait. I'll either take a Pittsburgh guy or Minshew. I'm at peace with it. This is a funny. ETR has a super bullish rank on Malachi Corley. I think it's because Anthony Amico, who does their dynasty stuff, is super high on him, and it's flooding into their best ball ranks. But man, he does not feel like an eliminator ass pick. I'm glad he went.
No,
You
he
know who
doesn't.
does feel like an eliminator ass pick? Wan'Dale Robinson. Give me those 3.5 catches a game.
Yeah, like what 4 screens a game that are basically runs because
Yeah,
Devin
exactly.
Singletary is dust and they need to simulate a running game.
Now I look at it, there are some old names on new teams batting around here in the wide receiver rankings that are, man, eliminator ass picks. Tyler Boyd until Tennessee, Zay Jones on the Cardinals.
What do you think? I have 2 more picks, and I wish I had 3 because I would love to get to 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, and 6 running backs. What do you think I axe here? A 3rd quarterback, a 6th running back, or a 3rd tight end? I need your help. I think I'm for sure going 3 quarterbacks. Yeah. All right. Shots on board. Rashad White, Ramondre Stevenson, Zach Moss, Zeke, Eliminator ass, Elliott, Antonio Gibson. I think I can rock with that.
I think so.
Dude, who's the Cowboys like 3rd receiver going to be? Is it going to be Jalen Tolbert?
Their 3rd receiver is CeeDee Lamb, actually, and he's also their 2nd receiver, and he's their 1st
And their
receiver.
first, yeah. That's
And then Brandon Cooks is their 4th receiver.
Brandon Cooks, but yeah, he's not.
I like
relevant
Tucker
anymore.
Kraft as a 3rd Eliminator ass tight end.
I feel like he's one of those guys who has there's a lot of people whose opinions I respect who are like, I really like Tucker Kraft as a late round best ball flyer,
Yeah.
whether they liked him more as a recruit coming out into the draft, things like that. Like he's someone who's interesting to me.
I agree. And I think there are scenarios where it's like a pretty gross 50-50 committee where they kind of cannibalize each other. But in those scenarios where Tucker Kraft beats out Musgrave and the market's just too confident in Musgrave, then it's like a pretty big smash. But at worst, like you're hoping for kind of like I could see scenarios where it's kind of like a Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid rookie year type thing. And maybe Kraft is the Kincaid, more the underneath kind of possession guy that starts to get utilized a little bit more. Like I could see that.
Yeah.
Golly,
I could see it
man.
too. I just also don't know enough about Kraft to like have a take really. So I just kind of
The
listen to
thing that
what
was fun about Musgrave, though, was like they were using him down the seam. Like there was some more chances for big plays with him, it seemed like, whereas Kraft seemed to be way more underneath stuff, more of a receptions merchant. But it's hard to know how much of that is going to carry over when they're both fully healthy.
Yeah, Kraft's a little bit hard for me with just like I like Musgrave a lot. It's like, yeah,
I think I want to have
cannibalization
both
feels big
this year, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kraft at cost feels better, right? Like if you're thinking that it's viable, like if you're playing the bullish outcomes on each, then
Wow. Look at this strategy from kicks to catch. Red badge
kind of
has
like it.
one quarterback. What Clay, you like one tight end, Dalton Schultz?
I kid. It's too aggressive. And even one quarterback, you're
like
fucked when that. I mean, unless the Eagles just don't have a bye week, like it just doesn't work. So
well, let's see. I mean, you got to go one more tight end here at least. You got to. You're taking a 0. Oh my god. I think this is an eliminated ass team.
Yeah,
Right
I'm not sure I'm into this. Maybe he thought it was weekly winners.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Like I think that's
what
the
weekly winners team.
reasonable explanation is, oh shit, I thought this was a weekly winners draft.
I
weekly
did
winners
take
might be
Gardner
the most
Minshew.
fun to draft, like format wise. I think with upside,
It's
like this one is like
probably
it's too much
the
floor. It doesn't compute. My GPP brain does not compute eliminator ass picks. It's
Hey,
just
compute this, Clay. Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew at quarterback, and Dallas Goedert, Pat Freiermuth, Tucker Kraft.
it's just
That's an
that is
eliminator
fucking
ass
disgusting.
room.
All right, well, I was hoping that I would get Gardner Minshew as my
It's so ugly. It's beautiful.
Fields, and so I am going to have 2 QBs with my second quarterback being Drake May, which is truly terrifying.
Wow, that's not very.
I'm going to need a
eliminator-ass of
very
you.
late in the season bye for the Houston Texans to let
Yeah.
Drake even see the field.
Yeah,
Dude. Yeah, your worst case scenario is a week 4 Houston Texans bye. That is the
Patriots are
nut
playing like
low.
the Jets or something, or
Right. They haven't. They're playing a great defense. That's the week that they're gonna let Jacoby Brissett out there again to take all the beatings and then put Drake in.
All right, quick. I got to go here in a second, but let's quickly recap these. I drafted the most eliminator ass team of all time. 3-5-7-3 build. Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew. I can't even take myself seriously with this team. Running backs: Rashaad White, Ramondre Stevenson, Zach Moss, Ezekiel Elliott, Antonio Gibson. Is that what this contest exists for? Just doing bits. Wide receivers: Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin, Adam fucking Thielen, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Tight ends: Dallas Goedert, Pat Freiermuth, Tucker Kraft. Hang it in the fucking eliminator.
Oh my god.
Loop.
Pete, a great bit for you is just to tweet out like screenshots of your team and be like, guess what format?
or actually just post it and say, just drafted this sick team, have everyone pile on, and then just come in with the quote retweet dunks in the eliminator, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, what did you do here?
Yeah, I mean, I went with the Houston mega stack, so I have CJ Stroud and Drake May. Would have loved a third quarterback, but I wasn't about to draft Aiden O'Connell. He was going to be the next man up there, I think. And then, yeah, so pretty standard 2-6-8-2 with Aaron Jones, James Conner, Tajay Spears, Marshawn Lloyd, Kendra Miller, and Khalil Herbert. I feel pretty good about my running back room. And then CD, Nico, Diggs, Tank Dell, again for the Houston mega stack. Cortland Sutton, Jahan Dotson, Jalen Polk, and DJ Chark is Chark feels like an eliminator last round pick to me. And then Kyle Pitts and Brock Bowers at tight end. 2 tight ends there feels tough, but I did spend a decent amount of draft capital on both of them. So hopefully by the time Brett Bowers kind of turns it on, Kyle Pitts has carried me to.
Is a nice price for sure.
Yeah.
Clay, recap your team here.
Yeah, went Naked Dak, Jared Goff, aka Mr. Moneybags, Isaiah Pacheco, Tony Pollard, Trey Benson, Jerome Ford, Rico Dowdle for the running back room. Called Isaiah Anchor. And then we got Garrett Wilson, Drake London, double tap KC with Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown. We got Ricky Pearsall, Javon Baker, two opposite of Eliminator ass picks. OBJ back on brand, Pop Douglas, and then tight end room we got Laporta, Isaiah Likely, and Donald Parham Jr. to play the hits on some popping off late season tight end.
I gotta say, Clay, some non-eliminator ass picks in here. Donald,
I mean, y'all were taking them all, so how to zig and zag again? You know, like there's only so many eliminator ass picks on the board.
Yes, this was fun for getting the feet wet, and it'll be even more fun to see how dusted these teams are when we all like piled up bye weeks from two teams.
See you in week 4.
But it did feel good to get in these streets, and I'll definitely be digging in more once the schedule drops. Anything else for you, Andy, before we get out of here?
No, not too much for me. Like I said at the start of the show, if you're an NBA guy, check out IKB today. I think we have one of the larger contests on any site. DraftKings has a couple bigger ones, but $100,000 in prize contest. Otherwise, we should do one of these again next week once we have a schedule and see how different our draft style is.
It'd be fun. Clay, what about you?
Yeah, if anyone's interested in a good summer beer, keep an eye out for the order page going live later this week for what I think will be a delicious golden ale. Bronx does not missing their beer, so I'm very confident it's going to be a good brew to enjoy. So keep an eye on my Twitter or check Collective Beer Project out online.
Awesome. Yep. Like I said, keep an eye out for a new video on the Deposit Kingdom channel. Tomorrow we'll have Swolecast at 1, off and on the clock with the Badge Bros at 2. Schedule comes out Wednesday night. Thursday ship chasing. We'll definitely be talking schedule stuff, and then I'll go in the lab working on a schedule related video for the Deposit Kingdom YouTube channel as well. Also, just as a reminder, if some of you guys are new to Underdog for some reason, they are running a new deposit promo. Now, it was a $100 deposit match for a while. It's now a 50% deposit match, but up to $250 in bonus cash. So if you deposit $500, you can get $250 in your account. So a $750 total balance there for putting in $500. You can use promo code Pete to get that on Underdog. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your drafts, and we'll soon be able to correlate and dodge these bye weeks in short time. So thank you again to Andy, Clay in the chat today. And thank you for all of these just loving comps. Lance Armstrong, Zach Bryan, Arthur Smith. All three of us are going to go drink a smoothie and go to the gym after these. We'll see you guys next time on